when he answered that question.
Thank you, Karine.
Yeah, no problem. Gotcha.
Thank you, Karine. Is this Supreme Court proposal just an election year gambit?
I will say this. I think if you read the Washington Post op-ed that the president put out yesterday, if you listen to his speech, he was reacting to what SCOTUS has been doing over the past, not just past couple of weeks, but certainly in the last 2 years, starting from Dobbs and so many other important decisions that have come out of the Supreme Court. The Dobbs decision certainly was something that we talked about just 2 years ago, and he had a commission to take a look at the Supreme Court. He certainly appreciated the commission and what they did and the work that they've done. But when you have, a Supreme Court, and the president actually gave examples, right, of what the decision of immunity that they made recently, what that means for the president of the United States, and what we're seeing right now is not normal. And majority of Americans agree with us, right? What we're seeing that the Supreme Court is not normal. And the president spoke to that at length. He went to the LBJ library because of the historic nature of that library, the 60th anniversary of the Civil Rights Act, and there's so much here that's at stake, and so that's why he wanted to do this. This is about the right thing to do. This is about meeting the moment that we're in. This is about reacting to what the SCOTUS did. He said in his op-ed, American democracy is founded on the rule of law. No one, not the president, not the Supreme Court, are above the law. And in the wake of the Supreme Court ruling, for example, it grants presidents immunity for crimes committed in office and gut fundamental freedoms recognized for more than 50 years. And so he wanted to take action on that. And,
But why would he not then read in top Democrats, including the Senate Judiciary Chair, about this effort?
Here's the thing. Majority of Americans want to see this. They want to see some form of reform. And the president is certainly want to make sure that he is where majority of Americans. I will say, and I talked about this a little bit yesterday when we were in a gaggle, a range of conservative legal experts and Republican elected officials have voiced support, for example, term limits, which was part of what the president laid out yesterday. For example, last year, a bipartisan group of legal experts, including retired judges and Charles Fried, Ronald Reagan's Solicitor General, endorsed term limits for the Supreme Court. Stephen Calabrese, the chairman of the Federalist Society, who served in the administrations of Presidents Reagan and George H.W. Bush, he also endorsed term limits. You had Marco Rubio, a senator right now, right, a current senator, endorse this as well, along with other congressional Republicans. So there is bipartisan support for this.
I'm trying to understand how we got to this in the last week, because you brought up the president's commission. His commission also found on term limits that a statutory change for term limits, for instance, would be inherently unstable, underscored constitutional doubts, said that the composition would generate greater uncertainty and distress. The president himself, on the campaign trail in 2020, said about term limits, presidents come and go, Supreme Court justices stay for generations. I'm not trying to change that at all. That was 2 different days he spoke to this. So how did we get there?
First of all, he appreciates the commission, he appreciates the work that they've done. Their job was to give the president some thoughts and ideas, and obviously the president makes the final decision on how he wants to move forward. We have to look at what the Supreme Courts have done. Wait.
That was 2021.
You gotta let me answer the question. I'm not done. Let me finish the question. In the past several weeks, the actions that the Supreme Court has taken in undermining democracy and the rule of law, that's important. The president felt he needed to address this. Remember, we were supposed to go to LBJ Library 2 weeks ago. And we went 2 weeks ago this past Monday, yesterday. And so the president still wanted to move forward, still wanted to make sure he addressed this important issue. I mean, just a few weeks.
These past endorsing eliminating the filibuster then.
I mean, look, he laid out the 3 ways that he wants to move forward. We're going to have hopefully a healthy debate with Congress on what this is going to look like. This is going to be legislation that we want to move forward with. And look, and I will say this, one of the reasons the president ran in 2020 was because of what he saw in Charlottesville, was because of the fear of, wanting to make sure that we protect the soul of our nation. That was part of it. And just look at what's happened, the last several years, and the actions that the Supreme Court has taken. I mean, this is a president that was on the Judiciary Committee for almost the 36 years that he was president, right? If you think...
Yes, on the filibuster?
I actually answered this. I said, we're going to have a healthy debate with Congress on what this is going to look like. The president laid out the 3 ways that he sees moving forward. There's not going to go beyond those 3 measures that he's laid out, but we're going to have a healthy debate, and that's what's important here.
Filibuster's no question.
I just said we are going to...
Welcomes a question on filibuster.
We welcome a healthy debate on how to move forward. He put forth three ways to move forward on this, on really dealing with SCOTUS reform. And I just laid out some conservative legal experts who agree with us, at least on the term limits. They've been very clear as well.
Former President Trump did an